Am I the astronaut for preferring another man's cake? I, 41 male, am what people may consider a picky eater. Mostly every meal consists of chicken and bread, pasta or rice in some form. I like very few fruits or vegetables, and I'm not really even a fan of desserts of any kind. My partner and I have been together for 5 years, and he knows how picky I am. He is more adventurous in his eating ventures, but we have learned over the years how to shop and cook in ways that satisfy both of our tastes. My birthday was a few weeks ago, and my partner decided to try to recreate a cake for me that I had a very long time ago. The backstory here is that when I was in my 20s, I was in a relationship with a pastry chef. Like I mentioned before, I'm not really a fan of desserts, but my ex, many years ago, developed his own recipe for the best cake I ever had in my life. He made it for me only a couple of times before we split up, and I do not have the recipe myself. I have told my current partner about the cake, and we have talked about what might be in it or how we might try to make it, but honestly, neither of us are very good in the kitchen, and we really don't know where to even start. So my partner worked really hard for about 2 or 3 days to make this cake. He made multiple trips to the store, baking and trashing multiple cakes before finally ending up with something he deemed presentable to me. Remember, he had never tasted the cake my previous partner had made, so he was basically flying blind and basing all of his ideas on my own description of the taste and what I suspected the ingredients may be. On the evening of my birthday, we ordered in Chinese food and had dinner together at our apartment. He then proudly cut us each a big slice of cake. I admit the cake looked good. It looked remarkably similar to the original, and I was impressed with its appearance. But then I took a bite. The cake was not good. I'm sure that to anyone who actually likes cake, it might have been fantastic, but to me, it was terrible. So terrible that I could not hide my disgust and spit the whole bite back out onto my plate. I told my partner how much I appreciated him trying, but that I just did not like the cake at all. No! There's more to the story, but I have to... Can we just take a moment? Can we just take a moment of silence for this cake? And this guy, poor dude, worked so hard. So let's see how he takes it. He was actually quite offended that I refused to even swallow a single bite. He reminded me of how much work he had put into getting this cake just right and said that I should have at least eaten a slice and pretended that it was close to the cake I had before since he knew how much time and effort he'd put into it. But I disagreed. That lying about how I felt about the cake would have been the right move. But I disagreed that was the right move. Okay, I get it. I don't blame him for not getting it right. I mean, he's not a chef and he didn't even have the recipe or even really know what flavor he was trying to create. It was an impossible thing for him to do, really. And I did and do truly appreciate the effort he made. I simply preferred the original cake from many years ago, and I do not feel like I should pretend to like something I just don't, to spare someone's feelings, even his. Am I the astronaut for simply preferring another man's cake? Differing opinions on. I'm putting myself in his shoes. Here's the deal. He knew up front she didn't really like desserts. He knew up front that this was a risk, and he accepted that risk when he took this upon himself. She didn't ask him to do it. He decided to do this himself, and he accepted this risk. In my opinion, OP made the right move here. Because if it were reversed, not reversed, but in my situation here, if I made something for Candy Thunder that she just absolutely despised, like couldn't stand, it tasted horrible, and she pretended to like it, guess what? I'm going to make that cake more often because it's something she actually enjoyed. Then she's got herself locked into this pattern where she has to choke down something that tastes not just not great, but terrible to her. And I think being upfront and honest here, and again, she's showing appreciation for all the hard work he put into it. That doesn't mean she has to pretend that it hit the mark. He knew what he was taking on here. The dude who made this thing years ago was a pastry chef, and this guy's average Joe trying to recreate it. Yes, he worked his butt off. It didn't work. That sucks. I get it. It sucks bad. You accepted that risk when you began this quest. And I would personally be more offended if somebody lied to me about it than if they told me the truth. Not lying about it? No, not an asshole for that. And the question here is, am I the astronaut for preferring another man's cake? No, it's your palate. I don't think you can control your palate, can you? Can you train your taste buds? Maybe you can. He accepted the risks, and then to get butthurt about it, I understand being deflated. I understand being disappointed. But this would be like two teams going to the Super Bowl and both working really hard, and one being like, oh, you got to say I won because I worked really hard. You know how hard I worked. It's not like that. Like It doesn't change the outcome. You accept the risks whenever you start the quest.